The Roots of Success podcast is for the landscape professional who's looking to up their game. We're not talking lawns or grass here. We're talking about people, process, and profits. The things deep within the business that need focus to scale a successful company. From hiring the right people and managing your team, to improving your operations and mastering your finances, we've got a brain trust of experts to help you nurture the roots of a successful business and grow to the next level. This is the Roots of Success.
Welcome to another episode of the Roots of Success podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Cole, and today we have Jack Jostes, the CEO of Ramblin' Jackson, the snow and landscape marketing agency that helps landscaping companies throughout the country attract more qualified customers. Today we'll be talking all about short-term and long-term marketing tactics to grow your business during a recession. Everything from getting enhancement sales from your current customer base, getting customer reviews during your installation and maintenance work, to understanding what he means by multimedia marketing. Hey, at the end of the day, it's all about being on the offense, not the defense, as a business owner and going after the sales with consistent marketing during the downturns in the economy. It's going to be a great episode. Let's get into it. Let's introduce Jack. Jack Jostes is the CEO of Ramblin' Jackson, which I want to know more about that, where he got the name. You also host a YouTube show weekly. You do podcasts, which is great. I was on yours a previous time. And you wrote an awesome book, The Tree of Good Fortune, which I've got a copy of. We'll dig deep into that a little bit. And also, you have a podcast called The Landscaper's Guide to Sales and Marketing. Excited to have you on board, Jack.
Tommy, yeah, thanks for having me here today.
This is going to be great. You know, we've known each other for probably a couple of years, right? I think I know who you were, and I think you probably knew who I was at some point. I figured our paths would cross, and sure enough, they did. And I think you took a trip a couple of years ago down to Dallas, and we went to lunch and treated you some Mexican food, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. It was excellent. Yeah, and it's been great. I remember meeting you all initially, at the TNLA Expo. Yeah. And I think James Tice was like, oh, yeah, you should meet the McFarland people. And here we are. So excited to be on the show today.
This is great. So the meat we're going to take out of this is basically marketing strategies. And we want to really know what your thoughts and your expertise is. Right now, we're in sort of a weird, we call it recession. I don't know if it's a recession, pre-recession, whatever it is. It's something that probably not a lot of us have experience in, and not sure. I think parts of the country are feeling a little bit, and in some parts of the country are like, we're rocking and rolling. But we want to talk about long-term marketing tactics to grow your business during a recession. Let's jump into it. What do you mean by growing your marketing tactics in a recession? Like, what does that mean? Big picture.
Well, a key question I ask people, and I have over 100 marketing clients that are throughout the country. Majority of them are snow and landscape companies. And like you said, I am seeing regionally, it varies a little bit. On the Northeast, we're seeing it slowing down quite a bit. Okay. I have clients here in Colorado who are still growing. They're getting record demand. I have clients in North Carolina, South Carolina. They are thriving. We've seen a lot of people move to those states that maybe have some equity in their home sale that they're then putting into their landscape or home improvements. And then in other markets in the Midwest and Northeast, like I said, it's slowing down a bit. So I'm asking people, hey, are you going to be in business 10 years from now? Because if you are, what are you going to do now that's going to position you to thrive when the market rebounds?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by long term, is thinking of long-term customer value. For people listening who do maintenance, the long-term customer value could be very high. If you sell a design build client and then you also sell them maintenance or snow clearing or lawn care or pest control or whatever your recurring revenue is, thinking of it long-term. And then also, I think just recognizing where we're at in the market. And it's a little unclear. Are we in a downturn? Are we in a recession?
Yeah.
I think we probably won't know until we can look back at it 6 or 12 months from now. But I'm seeing the signs that demand is lower. And also, though, I think it's just back to normal.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, when
Pre-COVID.
I look at, pre-COVID. So when I look at Google Trends, which is a really powerful, it's a free tool. Anyone listening can just search it, Google Trends. If you look at the trends for landscaping over the last 15 years, it peaks every May or April, kind of varies. When is spring? It varies regionally, weather-based. Each year it kind of changes, but typically end of April or May,
Right.
the demand for landscaping peaks, and then it doesn't go down to zero, but it goes back down the rest of the year. Low point is around Christmas, and then it comes back up in the spring. People's snow melts, and they're like, "Yeah, I need landscaping." So I get what I'm seeing is the peak from 2020 to the peak of 2023, there's a 30% decrease in the searches on Google for landscaping, lawn care, landscape design, outdoor living, all these tree service. And so it may just feel like a huge decrease, but it's actually just gone back down to where it was 2018, 2019. But when you've staffed up for the demand of 30% higher, wow, that you feel it. You have that overhead, you feel it. So when I talk about long-term marketing, I'm talking about, okay, I had a conversation with a client. He said, okay, got it. We're in a lull. Oh, I want to be ready when the market rebounds. So we're talking about building out his SEO so that way he ranks very highly. So when those searches come back up, he's not playing catch up. He's ready. He's ahead of it. And I'm recommending to clients to do more proactive outbound marketing, like print postcards. If you're going to do networking events, things like Google ads. And then Tommy, one of the things for our commercial listeners that you and I talked about in your interview on my show is LinkedIn. Right. So LinkedIn for recruiting, for sure. You can be proactively recruiting. You can be proactively connecting with property managers, with HOA presidents. Like you can continue to be, I think that, we were talking about hunting right before the show. I think you're going to have to hunt more.
Yeah. You're going to have to be, I compare things to football a lot. You're going to have to be on the offense. I feel like the last few years, stuff has fallen into our plate as from a sales and marketing, right? I mean, people are signing contracts on the hood of a car out in the driveway saying, let's get after it. When can you start? Tomorrow? Okay, not tomorrow, next week. And we roll with it. And what I'm hearing in the industry is it's getting back to pre-COVID, right? It's you're actually having to make the sell, or you're actually having to present well. You're actually having to be on time and be professional looking and make a few changes in your proposal and your design to meet a budget versus just kind of rolling with it. I think and when you say there's that little difference here, we're getting back to this level because this right here was sort of the whipped cream on a cupcake, right? It's nice to have, but it's a little bit out of the normal.
Well, and there was so much demand that we helped people with things like pricing pages or charging for the first appointment or charging for different things. And I'm still a big advocate of pricing pages and charging. And I also think you need to be receptive to what's happening in your market. And another question I ask people is, hey, if maybe 3 years ago, you were only taking on design build projects north of 50K and you were booked out for months and hardly even able to complete them. Okay, well, what do you have that demand now? And if you don't, maybe you would say yes to a $10,000 front yard or a $5,000 front yard or whatever it is. And I would lead with, what can people say yes to now is something that I have a marketing mentor, Drew Dinkelacher, shared that with me. What can people say yes to? Yeah. So I'm curious, with Tommy, what are you seeing with your clients, and is it varying regionally, and
varies
what's
a
going
lot.
on?
I would say there's some agreements when you said the Northeast is slowing down. I have a handful of clients are going, it's either I've got a few small projects or I've got the real big ones, or I've had people tell me a lot of people are waiting for it to slow down because clients don't think they're going to get the top quality project at a good price point and at a good schedule. And so people are holding off a little bit longer in order to make that big landscape, big commitment decision, right? We're seeing, for the most part, most of the country is still going, but the caveat is it's not as strong as it was for the last few years. Now,
Yeah.
larger company owners that have larger companies that have salespeople, multiple salespeople, the owners of that company are telling us they love it because their salespeople are having to work for it, right? They're having to really go out there and go and hammer it out and make sure they do a really good job of communication with the client up front. They get what they need. They break it out. Maybe it's in 3 phases because they can understand which each phase is going to cost. Maybe it's the whole front yard first and the backyard second, and another phase be third, right? And so they can break it out. That we're seeing the same thing on our end. Yeah.
Well, and the phasing, I think, is an important thing to come back to that big picture idea of long term.
Yeah.
And maybe you're leading with a front yard or a side yard or a smaller project, knowing that once I get in with that client, when they have the budget for the rest of their backyard or phase 2 or phase 3, I want to be that person. And if I do maintenance, I want to let my maintenance clients know, hey, by the way, did you know we can do front yards? Did you know that we do whatever enhancements? So I'm coaching my clients to really focus on their current clients.
Oh, yeah.
Or, related to that is what opportunities came in your pipeline that fell off the radar. Maybe 2 years ago, people got as far as getting a proposal and they just ghosted. And because you had so much demand, maybe you didn't do the best job following up with those people.
Yeah.
How many of those could you reactivate with a personal email? Tommy, did you ever end up doing your backyard?
Yeah.
Almost like a text message, just sending somebody that question, and they might reply, hey, thanks for reaching out. We went on vacation and then Uncle Charlie died. And then, who knows what happened in life that caused them not to do their landscape. And now that email or what I'm recommending is a series of things like a postcard once a quarter, a monthly email newsletter, a personal email, or heck, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, it's Jack. Hey, just checking in on you, man. Did you ever end up doing your backyard?
Yeah.
Literally pick up the phone. I meet with a lot of people who are, when the searches are 30% less than they were, we need to expect about 30% less business coming from that marketing source. And that's why we need to pick up other channels.
Yeah. They call that the low hanging fruit, right?
For sure.
Versus trying to get the time it takes to get a brand new client onboarded, right, and sold is what 10 times as hard than reaching out to an existing client. That's when we have enhancements and upsells. That's how when I was in the recession, the 08-09 recession, we were hot and heavy in a local Dallas company, and we survived on the construction dried up for the most part, but we survived on enhancements. Now, an enhancement might be a $50,000 install at existing property, or it could be a 70. And people would do that. They're like, I'm going to get the most bang of my buck if I would pull the trigger now during a downturn of an economy. And our landscape install team did enhancements for a couple of years, and it worked out really well. Not to say that we're there yet. We're not there now, but the low hanging fruit is a great thing. So, Jack, let me ask you this: when you say, like, let's say you've got a company out there in the country and you want to start preparing yourself for this, what sort of digital marketing do you think needs to be done at these small companies? I mean, there's a lot of companies that are $1 million, $2 million, $3 million that are thousands of them all over the country. And maybe they haven't tapped into anything in the last few years because the sales are coming in. Like, so what would you recommend for these companies to start doing?
Well, one of the things that I would recommend to all of them, regardless of their size, is to prioritize getting reviews. So when people are more budget conscious, they're going to do more research. And that's where maybe I'm a homeowner and I get a referral for 2 landscape companies. And I'm also Googling,
Yeah.
And my wife and I actually did this recently for a construction project. We got a referral from somebody we really trust, but when we Googled them, their reviews were terrible and their website was awful, right? So a lot of these things that work in a boom market of having good reviews, having good SEO, having a good website become even more important in a down economy when people are more picky and choosy and afraid. So some of the basics of having a solid website, having the most current photographs, depending on when people get this in July, if this comes out in July, getting photographs now of your best work instead of waiting until November and saying, oh yeah, I wish I had some photos for my maintenance page. So those are some of the things. And during this time of year, posting content on Instagram and Facebook, we're still seeing a lot of clients get a lot of leads from social media and simple content about here's what we worked on today. Here's if you're going and doing that final walkthrough at a job site, I guarantee you have a phone. Take a picture and either post it on Instagram or send it to the person who does. So those are some of the things that you can control, right? Like how many new pages did I build on my website this year? How many reviews did I request? Maybe I can't control how many I got, but have I emailed every customer? Have I called them? Have I thanked them? Have I sent out a print thank you note? Maybe for some of my high-end clients, should I send them a gift?
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like it should be in your process of closing out a project.
I believe it should. So we use something at Ramblin' Jackson with our clients called Ramblin' Reviews, where we're collecting Net Promoter Score. And I recommend collecting it midway through a project. So let's just pretend you had a 3-month construction project. I would send it halfway.
Okay.
Right? I'd send it halfway and I'd send it at closeout. And now I'm getting feedback midway. How are you feeling about things are going? How are you feeling at the end? And then for my maintenance clients, I'm sending that out quarterly. And if I'm getting an 8, 9, or a 10, how likely are you to recommend me to a friend? That's probably a good person to call and just say, hey, Tommy, thanks so much. I noticed you gave me a 9. Yeah, I just want to reward my team for doing a good job. What is it that you're enjoying about working with them?
Love it.
And by the way, Tommy, did you know that this is where you have a chart of your accounts? Have they bought the front yard yet? Hey, Tommy, I just wanted to let you know, by the way, that we're working on front yards and we currently have openings in August. And maybe you create a preferred offer or a gift or something, right? So I think it's going to vary for everyone. But I would look, in working back from how long does it take to make a sale and what's my backlog like? And then maybe could I create some sort of incentive or a package to fill that opening?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, let's pretend that you have the capacity for 10 more front yard installations in the end of the third quarter. You could create a gift that you give people if they fill that spot before July 15th, right? So schedule your front yard project before July 15th, and we're going to give you, I don't know, what do you have? A potted plant?
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to give away the moon, right? It could be something. And they say, oh, cool. They're going to, or for clients who do power washing, we're going to power wash your driveway. Like, what's something that you could do that your competitor isn't? And especially if you give this to your existing customers, they're like, sweet, we're getting a value add of power washing or window cleaning, or maybe you have a new pest control service and you offer an inspection or something. So I think I get just back to your point too, of like being on the offense, giving somebody an idea that they could take action on.
Yeah. Love it. I'm a fan of the past, present, future. And so if you can paint that picture in your, installations and maintenance of a client, often what we did in the install business, I'm a landscape architect and did a bunch of great installations over the course of years, but we put a miniature storybook together. And every time we started a project, we always took the before photos, which people some sort of remember a little bit what it was before, but at the end of the project, they don't hardly remember it. they also don't remember the middle of the job, what the pictures look like, but they're going to see the end of the job all the time. And I took a bunch of photos. All the project managers always did. And you go to Kodak.com and Shutterfly.com and upload 50 photos of the past, present, future of your installation. And I'm going to tell you what, Miss Smith, and when you hand it there a physical book that says this is what their property looked like, that is so valuable because it goes in the bookcase and it's something forever. Where, a potted plant is great. It may last a few weeks or a year until, Uncle Sally comes and knocks it over, or the dog Penelope chews up the leaves, whatever. But the book is and it shows the past, the present, and future. And when you're going about, the Instagram and Facebook, I love to hit that up because that's what clients want to see. Like what's going on in the process? What's the before? What's the after? What are you doing? And if you're posting those things, they love the stuff and the details, right? They love the storybook of Miss Smith and the 6-week-long project, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. And taking this before, the present, past, present, and future, that makes an awesome Instagram post.
Yeah.
Right. People love those before and after photos in construction and landscaping.
Yeah.
And even, for maintenance, maybe you pick up a new commercial maintenance account, take a before photo and take an after photo. And hey, if it doesn't look any better, like why should they renew with you? Right.
Right. You're there to improve the property. So my guess is the commercial property is probably not in great shape. Right. So that's your opportunity to just go ahead and take those photos now, right when you start it, and go, oh, by the way, in 6 weeks, look what we've already done. And they're probably like, oh, wow, I had no idea, because I look at the window every single day and you can't quite see the changes. It's no different than your kids. You can't see them growing up.
Right. Well, and to that point on the commercial, I interviewed Wade Martin on my show once, and Wade is down in Georgia, and he was talking about how they would hunt for repeat or reactivating their commercial accounts, where they would go, if they lost an account, they would take a photo the last day they worked on it, and they would go and look at it 6 months, 12 months later.
Wow.
And, that's another way, like, you follow up with those people like, hey, here's a before photo when we worked together. Here's what I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
Just wanted to let you know that we're here and we still care about your property.
Yeah. Do you miss us yet?
So basically, something like that. There are a lot of ways that you can be proactive with it. Or, at the Grow conference last year that I went to in Nashville, Tennessee, what was the landscape company we went and visited for the field trip? Melosi. So Melosi's marketing person was talking about the cloverleaf strategy that they use there, which is when they're either doing a project at somebody's house or maintenance, cloverleaf is simply like giving a print handout to the next door neighbors and the neighbors across the street. Yeah. And you know what? They were doing that during boom times, right? Yeah. So some of these things are just like, they're like keeping fit. They're things that you do. You're just like, they become part of what you do. And I think what I'm seeing is that a lot of people frankly got lazy during the boom economy because you could just kind of wait. And if you had a good reputation and decent marketing, like you'd probably get a pretty great result. So to bring it back, I think part of it is recognizing where we're at in the market cycle. Yeah. And it may be hard to see exactly until 6-12 months from now. But what I'm hearing from you, what I'm hearing from other clients, what I'm seeing in Google Trends is that it's back down to maybe pre-COVID levels. And that's where I invite people to think big picture, 10 years from now, 3 years from now, 18 months from now. What did you do over the 18 months that proactively filled the pipeline and got you that much closer to being hired when things rebound?
Yeah. I got a question. So when you ask the question to people and they're like, hey, are you going to be around in 10 years? Do you have any people that say no?
I do, actually. So when I have an honest conversation with people, it can be an emotional topic, and I'm not asking it in jest. I'm asking it like for real. Cause some people, they're like, yeah, of course, dude, I'm going to be around. And then some people are like, well, actually, I'm at the end of my career. I'm totally burned out. I don't have a I don't have a crew lead for maintenance. I'm thinking of closing that department, and I'm thinking of closing. I'm thinking of just like retiring.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could sell my company. And like, wow, okay, that might be the truth.
Yep.
And maybe their long-term goal is to like survive the next couple of years. But that then ultimately leads to the conversation around, well, how many new customers do you need during that time, and what are you willing to do? Whereas some clients, especially if they're thinking, well, I want to build this thing up and sell it in 5 years, they're the ones who are like, hell yeah, I'm going to invest in marketing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to be here in 5 years, or someone will have bought me, and I'm seeing that long-term vision. So yeah, some people, the answer is truthfully no.
Yeah.
I don't want to, and maybe they want to be bought.
Yeah, love it. Let's say it starts to get a little worse, and people in the Northeast, it starts to trickle down to the sort of the Midwest and the South. What should they be doing from a marketing standpoint?
One of the most important things is to be collecting email addresses. So when you'd be amazed how many people are mailing invoices, or they have emails, but they're not in an organized fashion. So to me, email is something I can control. I can send an email. I could choose to send an email and have it out in about 20 minutes of work. I could email my whole database, right? Yeah. So that's a lever that you can pull that I think is pretty valuable. And as an example, one of the emails that I helped a client with is what I call a spear email, short, personal, expecting a reply. And so they sent out an email. The subject line was insert first name, spring cleanup. Tommy, would you like to join our spring cleanup schedule? Whew. So like, okay, great. So I don't know. I know that as an example, that client had openings for spring cleanups. When they do that, that leads to the enhancement or upsell conversation. Right. Same thing, fall cleanup, or maybe you offer a new service line. Maybe you acquire a pest control company. I think having the ability to email your customers and know who is not a customer and who almost bought, and sending them specific messages until they become a customer is one of the top things.
Yeah.
Another thing that some of my top clients are using is SendJim, where they're automating the send of print letters being sent to people, or thank you cards, or happy landscape birthday, or like maybe that you send people a gift. So I to kind of wrap it up, I'm a big fan of multimedia marketing, meaning we're doing something with print, we're doing things with digital. When I get a lead through digital, I'm sending them a gift in the mail, right? So there, it's this cycle of relationship building, and built into the process is getting the online review. So I see it more of like there's a number of things that need to be part of your process.
Yeah.
And email being a key piece of it.
Yeah. You could almost make an argument. Let's say you've got a business that does installation, maintenance, lawn care, and tree. You can make an argument that says we need to have also a branch that's called marketing. And it needs to be in our Rolodex for us old school people to say, we need to be discussing this every week, right? Because here's where it gets tricky. I believe the number one reason a client will fire a landscape company is because of communication.
I agree.
Okay. Now you have some smaller things and maybe some things that can compete. I get it. Maybe you screwed something up. I get it. But the lack of communication is the number one driver of getting fired. Here's the thing that you mention often is there's that communication and constant contact with those people all the time, right? You're always touching base. You're always valuing the relationship. You're always asking them how we did. How can we get better? Oh, by the way, it is now summertime. We need to do an irrigation check. It's going to be, are you leaving out of town for 3 months because it's getting hot this summer? Do we need to do some additive things to check your property, right? So there's that constant communication, that constant, if we don't put it there as a maintenance revenue item and as a construction revenue item and as a tree care, lawn care line item, we're not going to talk about it. So it's just as important that those 4 revenue streams that your 5th one might be marketing and sales. And how do you be on the offense all the time, right? I'm a huge fan of, in maintenance, you better have your processes lined up of touch points of that client. How often do you touch base with a client? Is it once a month? Is it once a week? Is it every other week, which I'm not a fan of? It's either once a month or once a week. Are you touching base with that client very often and let them know what you're doing to the property? So I love that aspect of always on the offense, right? And so it's got to be a topic of conversation. If you're having leadership meetings once a week or once a month, sales and marketing's got to be at the top.
Yeah, and there's in sales and marketing, there's lead indicators and lag indicators. So revenue would be a lag indicator. How much have we sold? What was our gross profit on that? But yeah, how many leads did we get is a key performance indicator. How many appointments do we have scheduled out? And typically it's once people are like, oh crap, we don't have any appointments. What do we do? Yeah. And that's where I look back to, well, what are the things I can control? And that's why, again, I'm a big, email. I can control how many emails I send, how many review requests did I send, how many postcards did I send, how many pages did I build on my website, how many social media posts did I make? And then I can look back at those and see which ones worked well. I have analytics, social media insights, and so on, but a lot of it's just like doing the work.
Yeah.
And you can manage somebody to do those behaviors. Was the email sent or not? Like I love was the email sent or not? And at my company, we send to our project clients a weekly email on Fridays.
Love it. The recap.
It's amazing for a number of reasons. One, the client likes it. The project manager knows what to do. And then I can see, was that email sent? Yes or no? And I could read the email and see what's being communicated. Yeah. And if you have a wait list, maybe people come to you and say, oh, I can't wait 2 months to get XYZ done. Say, great. If you'd like, we have a wait list and we'd be happy to include you on our weekly update. And that way, should things change, you'd at least be on the list. Would you like for me to send that to you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess if the other company doesn't work out, at least I'll have your email. Now, 9 weeks went by. I had 9 touch points that cost me nothing. All I had to do was add their email to my list and, Yeah.
So email is the most crucial thing. So that's that contact point for every client, right? The contact point. And at the end of the day, between email and text messages, that's the way we communicate. It's rarely by phone, and you can make an argument that no one complains about too much marketing or too much communication, right? No one says, Jack, you guys are communicating to me way too much about the project that we signed up for. That's going to take 6 months. Like, you're over communicating. Please stop it. Like, no. And then I hear account managers say, well, they never respond. I'm like, well, they don't have to. They don't have to respond. They're reading it, they're understanding it, but they're not telling you, no, don't send. You're sending too much communication. I love the weekly recap is how I became successful. Is that end of the week of this is what we did, this is what we're working on now, and this is what's going to happen next week. Right? It's the past, present, future,
right.
And they're like, oh my God, I'm blown away. And we were actually consistent on that.
Well, and also, stuff comes up during projects. There are material shortages or plant freezes or whatever it is. And, getting an email to somebody, hey, in the future, by the way, we're seeing that there's a shortage of this type of plant that we were originally planning to use or this type of material. And you're a month out of letting them know, right? Instead of a month behind, oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you that. There's a shortage of, right? Like, so I'm a big fan of bad news gets worse with age. And that weekly email, if there's bad news, just get it out there.
Yeah. Just get it out there. Whether it's bad or good, get it out there right now. I love it. Jack, what's this thing? Hell yes, customer. What does that mean? That that intrigued me out of the book, and I would love to touch base if you got a second to talk about that. I think it's awesome, but dive into that a little bit.
Hell yes, customer is your best customer. Who are you deliberately trying to attract to your landscape company?
Okay.
I believe this needs to be asked at least annually and revised in your marketing. So too often landscape companies, and I think you have to go through a phase of doing everything for everyone.
Yeah,
I can mow your lawn for sure. We can
anything.
do trim these branches for you for sure. Small project, like you need to like figure it out in order to get to the point where you're more of a specialist. And then once you get clear on who is your hell yes customer, you can get clear on why would that customer buy from you over anyone else. And that's the most important question in sales and marketing, unless you want people to choose on price, right? Because if they don't understand why you're different and better for them, and if you're too vague trying to please everybody, then yeah, you're going to lose on price.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a hell yes customer and you're the best at serving them for the thing they want, you can charge more, right?
Love it. It's a good catchphrase instead of saying, well, they're an A-list client or they're a B-list client or the C-list client. I'm like, well, why do you have C-list clients?
Right.
You want them all to be like A's at the end of the day. And I think you're right? We go through the series of signing up for everything. Yes, everything. Yes, we'll do it all no matter what. And then you're running over ragged, right? And that takes several years to sort of find out about yourself and your business. I get it.
Well, and then also, with maintenance and especially with commercial clients, and you mentioned C or D list clients, I've done this. I actually did this exercise with an $18 million commercial company, and their CFO was there. And we graded the clients and we looked at the profit and loss by customer and by what type. Were they municipality? Were they apartments? Were they HOAs? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times people have a big client that's spending a lot of money, but wow, we're way over budget. We're not profiting. We're stressing out our account managers. Like, why even do it? So I think it's a matter of who do you really want as a client? And then I'm a big fan of, attracting an abundance of leads and then taking amazing care of the clients who we do take on. Right. So once we have that hell yes customer, we may say no to certain projects. So that way we can take exceptional care of who our customer really is.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a mediocre job for a whole bunch of people.
Right. Let's take the top-notch clients that we are excited about. We can provide a good service and we can provide a good product. And at the end of the day, that client's going to be happy. But we can't do that for the quantity of clients.
Well, this is related also, I believe, to labor challenges. Because if you're overextended on your sales and how many customers and who they are, and maybe certain services you're offering are not well documented with your processes, and you don't have appropriate staff, and then the people who knew how to do it quit, and now you have a bunch of people who were the B team employees or C team, and there's that key person is missing. Wow, that's a good way to ruin your reputation. Yeah. So I think to me, the hell yes customer drives all of the rest of the sales and marketing decisions.
You love it. Hey, so Jack, as we wrap up here, any final thoughts to our audience? You're the marketing guru guy, man. We were excited to have you. What's some last final thoughts for these people, but in that possible sort of awkward economy that we have, or we're getting back to normal pre-COVID?
A key question you've got to ask yourselves is, what can people say yes to now? Okay. And how can I attract people to that offer? And during certain economies, you're more or less going to be filtering the demand that's coming to you and giving those people that offer. In a time like this, you're going to need to more proactively market that offer. And who are you sending it to? Your hell yes customer.
Yeah.
and it may be a hell yes repeat customer, I would absolutely start there with who can I upsell? Who could I reactivate? Who do I already have a warm, positive relationship with that could buy more? And then also, what trade partners, right? So back to email, if I come up with a quality offer, let's pretend I don't do lawn care, right? And I refer all of my lawn care to a lawn care company who doesn't do landscape maintenance.
Okay.
We could probably refer each other. I could ask him to do an email for me, and likewise. So I think that you're going to need to do more proactive outbound marketing. And that was one thing we didn't talk about with strategic partners. And who else has a list of your hell yes customers that's not a competitor to you?
Yep. Love it. Good stuff. Jack, I know you want to talk about, one last thing, right? So you have another little idea that you want to share with us for all the listeners out there. What do you got up your sleeve?
Well, we've got, depending on when you're listening to this, we've got, I think I'll see you guys at the Elevate show in Dallas. And so I'm going to have a booth, and I'm going to be collecting the 2023 Landscaper Sales Survey. We did it last year. We had 163 companies. Our goal this year is 300. So come by our booth and say hi. And even if you're not coming, I have a gift for the audience of the Roots of Success podcast, which is I'd love to send you a free copy of my book. Today, Tommy, you did an awesome job. Thanks for interviewing me. There's so much more to do, right? And I've written
we could go on for hours, right?
So I have written a step-by-step guide. Each chapter has a real case study of an actual landscape company implementing each thing. So we go through branding, sales process, website reviews, email, social media. And I'd love to send you this for free from treeofgoodfortune.com. And when you get there, if you use the promo code ROOTS for Roots of Success, I'll waive the shipping costs. So you can literally just get this book for free.
There you go.
Treeofgoodfortune.com, promo code ROOTS.
There we go. Love it. I got mine right here. I got a copy back in the day when you sent it to me. And like you said, I've read bits and pieces of it because I've hopped around and my ADD kicks in a little bit and I want to learn about this or that. And you said that's perfect for it. And that's what I've been doing. I had no idea. And so there's definitely some great nuggets in here. I think this is almost a thing you sort of open up once or twice a year and refresh your memory on certain things because the years change every year. It's something different. I feel like the last 3 years we've been through a roller coaster ride of every landscape company has been through the gauntlet test of being slapped in the face with pool noodles, basically, right? And with COVID and plants dying, and we had Snowmageddon here in Dallas and a drought. We've been through everything, and so this kind of keeps you, it keeps you in check of what should be going on for your sales and marketing side of the business.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned all of those things because when I think about my clients and what I like about the landscape industry most is the people in it are resilient.
100% agree. 100%.
And they are resourceful. I mean, what a cool word, landscaper, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like some of the most resourceful people in the world are landscapers.
Yeah.
And in marketing, it's about thinking about what resources do I have? How am I going to create more demand? And I'm excited to see what happens and work with people through
it. They are very resilient, and I love the industry. Not to go on off too much of a tangent, but these people care a lot, and they care a lot about others. They care about their business. I don't know another industry that's similar to this one. That's why I fell in love with it.
Me too. I totally believe that. And like I said, I'm excited to see what happens. In some ways, we're in some chaos, and now it's kind of fun. Like, all right, there's some work to do.
You know what? There's never a dull moment in our industry, right? Every day is a new day, and you're not going to be bored by any means. Jack, it was an awesome pleasure to have you on our show, Roots of Success. I think we've got many more to come, and we'll dive into some more tactical subjects in the future. We'll see you soon in Dallas, and then we'll see you later in the year for your little show that you got virtually, and it should be awesome stuff for the future.
That's right. McFarland Stanford is speaking at the Landscaper Summit. So that's our virtual event. It's in October, and landscapersummit.com. And we have Megan and another person from your team, Tracy. Megan and Tracy are presenting about management. So I'm excited to collaborate with you on that. Yeah, that's right. October will be here before we know it. So thanks for bringing that up. You and Jason spoke last year on leadership. Audience loved it, and we're excited to have you back. So
a lot of
stay tuned, everyone.
going on. This is going to be great. So
yeah,
Jack, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks, Tommy. Take care.
Ready to take the next step? Download our free profitability scorecard to quickly create your own baseline financial assessment and uncover the fastest ways to improve your business. Just go to mcfarlandstanford.com/scorecard to get yours today. To learn more about McFarland Stanford, our best-in-class peer groups, and other services, go to our website at mcfarlandstanford.com, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time on The Roots of Success.